everyone, so today in this video I'm gonna answer a few questions about FLA and SLA. So first of all, I'm gonna answer a few questions about FLA. So what is first language acquisition? First language acquisition is the natural process of how baby learn to understand and speak their mother's tongue. It starts from the moment they are born by listening to sound and voices and words around them. At first, babies only make sounds and babbles, but as they grow, they begin to connect words with meaning. They don't study grammar like adults do, but instead, they learn through daily interaction by listening and repeating what they hear. This process usually happens naturally at home without any formal teaching. Second question is, what are the major theories of FLA? There are several theories about how children learn their first language. The first one is step behaviorist theory by B.F. Skinner, which says that children learn language through imitation and reinforcement. For example, when a child says the word correctly and their parents praise them, so they repeat it again. The second is the nativist theory by Noam Chomsky, who believes that humans are born with a special ability to learn language. So this means children don't only copy words, they are naturally programmed to understand grammar and structure. Both theories show different ways of explaining how language develops in children. So the third question is, how do bilingual children acquire both languages? Children who grow up in bilingual homes, for example, speaking Japanese and Indonesian or Indonesian and English, can learn both language naturally at the same time. They usually hear both languages used by their parents or family members in different situations. Over time, they learn to separate which language to use with whom. For example, speaking one language with their parents and another at school, because their brains are still very flexible, and also they can switch between languages easily without much confusion. Fourth question is, what stages do children go through when acquiring their first language? So children pass through several stages when learning their first language. The first stage is only cooing and bubbling, when babies experiment with sounds. Then comes one stage where they say simple words like mama or milk, and after that is two word stage when they start joining words like one milk. Finally, they reach the multi-word stage where they can make full sentences and communicate it more clearly. So, as a future teacher, understanding FLA for me is very important. Why? Because it helps me see how language naturally develops from the beginning. By knowing how children learn their first language, I can design better ways to teach English to my students. It reminds me that language learning should be meaningful, interactive, and natural, not just memorizing grammar. It also helps me to understand that every student learns at their own pace, just like children do when they learn to speak for the first time. So next, I'm going to answer a few questions about SLA. So what is second language acquisition and how is it different from FLA? Second language acquisition, or SLA, is the process of learning another language after your first one. For example, if your first language is Indonesian and now you start learning English, that's SLA. The main difference is that FLA happens at a very young age, but SLA usually happens later and often requires more effort, motivation, and instruction. When people learn a second language, they might use their first language as a reference, which can sometimes cause mistakes or mix-ups. So, second question is choose one SLA theory. So, I choose one of famous theory is Gaussian input hypothesis. It says that people learn a new language best when they receive input that is a little above their current level, something understandable but still challenging. For example, like this: if a student understands basic English, the teacher should give stories or conversation that include a few new words, and this helps the brain grow naturally without too much pressure. In class, a teacher can use videos, songs, or real life situation to give students this kind of meaningful input. What role do affective factors play in learning a second language? So, affective factors like motivation, attitude, confidence, and anxiety play a big role in language learning. When students feel motivated and confident, they are more active and willing to practice. But if they feel anxious or scared of making mistakes, it can stop their progress. That's why teachers need to create a positive and relaxed classroom atmosphere where students feel safe to speak and make errors. What is interlanguage and why are learner errors is important? So, interlanguage is the unique language system that learners create while learning new language. It's a mix between their first language and the new one they are trying to master. Errors are naturally part of this process, so they show that students are thinking and trying to apply what they know. So, for teachers, these mistakes are very important because they show what stage the learner is at and what kind of help they need next. How does age influence second language learning? So, age can influence how fast or easily someone learns a second language. Children often have better pronunciation and can learn naturally through play and imitation. Adults, on the other hand, might learn grammar and vocabulary more conclusively. Both have advantage. Children absorbs languages quickly, while adults can use logic and strategies. So it's not just about age, but also motivation and learning environment. Next is how can knowing SLA theories help teachers teach English more effectively? So knowing SLA theories help teacher understand how students process and use a new language. It guides teacher to give the right kind of input, to reduce stress and to make learning more interactive. For example, a teacher can use communication activities or real life tasks that let students use English meaningfully rather than only focusing on grammar drills. And the last question is how might AI tools like ChatGPT influence future language acquisition? AI tools like ChatGPT can really change the way people learn languages. They can provide instant feedback, daily conversation practice, and personalized lessons to each learner. So students can practice speaking or writing anytime without feeling shy. And in the future, these tools can make language learning more flexible, fun, and available to everyone, no matter where they live. It's like having personal tutor 24/7 who helps you practice to improve and improve at your own pace.